I recognize from experience that the last speaker before a lunch break is expected to make up most of the wasted time before. I will try to do my best. My presentation means back to early history again. After Hess discovered the penetrating radiation cosmic rays through his balloon accident in just about 100 years ago, Victor Hess realized full well that continuing or long-lasting observation would be decisive for understanding the nature and the origin of radiation. That meant an observational platform at high altitudes. For an alpine country like Austria, this means the mountain peaks. In fact, in the 19th century, there were already 2 observatories for meteorological observations in existence. One in the south of Austria, in Carinthia. For me, personal reminiscence, because it's in the line of sight of my childhood experience, about 2,100 meters high. The other one, the Sonnenblick Observatory, more than 3,000 meters altitude. Of the 2, the Obeah was obviously more easily accessible. As a matter of fact, meteorological observations were made at that place even as early as the middle of the 19th century. A little pamphlet for tourists and alpinists describes the ascent to this Obeah as time-consuming but relatively doable for the experienced hiker. So there's no doubt that the first try for observations of cosmic rays were performed at the Obeah. This is a picture of the meteorological observatory. I think it was built about in the last decade of the 19th century, and this was exactly at the peak. The observation of cosmic rays of the instruments that Hess had provided were the same that he used in his balloon assets. The observations here were cosmic ray observations were with this hut. This was a kind of a mountain lodge for alpines and also for observers who lived there and located about 100 meters below the peak. In other words, coordinated meteorological observations and cosmic ray observations were made in those 2 places. The observations were made from September 1913 to November 1914. The observers were 2 young scientists of the Central Institute for Meteorology and Geodynamics that were seconded to Hess for observations. It turned out that the latter part of the observations had to be performed by trained technicians. The reason, of course, was the outbreak of World War I. The 1-year observation period came to the following conclusions, and this is based on publication by Hess and one of his associates, Koffler. And as you see the date, the publication is 1917. The reason for it was as follows. Both young scientists saw military service in the First World War by the middle of 1914. And the observer, Koffler, who was the co-author of Hess, in fact, was already a prisoner of war on the Russian front by the end of 1940. So it is quite obvious that World War I meant a hiatus of observations of cosmic rays on the ground in Austria. Hess, of course, could also not continue his observations. In addition to his work at the Radium Institute, he was engaged in a military hospital as head of radiology. But he performed scientific work at the Radium Institute with an English scientist, Robert Lawson, who was caught by the First World War in Vienna and was allowed to continue working under the tutelage of the former director, Stefan Bauer. So you see, World War I meant really quite a disruption of the observational work. After the war, Hess was appointed professor of physics at the University of Graz, but at the same time had received an invitation to serve as chief scientist of the US Radium Corporation in the US, and he accepted that and served there for 2 years while on leave from the University of Graz. In spite of lucrative offers in the US, he decided to return to Graz, and by 1925 was appointed full professor of physics as a co-equal to the Institute director of Hans Bendorf. During the time, of course, there was no possibility for him for experimental work. Neither radioactive material was available, no other observations were possible. So he wrote books. And by 1927, however, he obtained national and international financial support for cosmic ray observations on the Sonnenblick Observatory at 3,100 meters. Astigmatism is a bad thing. A few short words on the observation on the Sonnenblick Observatory. The observations were performed by Hess's assistant in Graz, Oskar Matthias, who later was professor of astronomy and as such also a teacher of mine some 60 years ago. The photograph of the scientist room at this observatory was described by Matthias as relatively comfortable. And I guess it speaks for itself if you look at it. On the other hand, Matthias was an extremely modest man. The observations were made on the Sonnenblick Peak at that time, the so-called Ziegler House, and to get the instrumentation and all the material up required porters to carry heavy equipment up, in contrast to the Russian colleagues that had donkeys to carry their equipment up the mountain. In the second turn, Steinmaurer, who had joined Hess by that time, was the observer together with a student of Leitz. Hess was not quite happy with the results of that observation because they really failed to show any variability, but they also could show some of the suggestions that were made by various people, among them was Poellau, that there was no peak related to astronomical time, therefore it could be excluded that there were sources in the sky that were responsible for the small variation. While Hess was in Graz, he was office neighbor, another famous man, Alfred Wegener, and I have to point out that this year also marks the centenary of Wegener's revolutionary idea about a dynamic Earth with the moving continents. From what I could gather, the relationship between Hess and Wegener did not exceed some friendly exchange of reprints. Hess had a rather strained relationship with the director of the Institute. On the other hand, Wegener had developed a real friendly relationship with Bendorf. So it was, in a way, quite understandable that in 1921, Hess accepted an appointment at the University of Innsbruck with the establishment of the station at the Hafen Park. It was accessible relatively easily from the university. You all know about the 1976 award of the Nobel Prize together with C.G. Anderson while he was in Innsbruck. But in 1937, he was actually coaxed into accepting the position of Bendorf, who had retired, and he decided to return to his alma mater just about 30 years after he was graduated from the retire's distinction, namely under the auspices of the Austrian Emperor. Now, in 1937, there was another important appointment for the physics department in Graz. Erwin Schrödinger was appointed professor of theoretical physics, and for a short time, both Austrian Nobel Prize winners were at the University of Graz, obviously a high point. Schrödinger and Hess knew each other, of course, from the days in Vienna, the so-called circle of Exner. Exner was responsible for providing the first postdoctoral appointment to Hess, but he was also the thesis advisor for Schrödinger. Schrödinger actually had a thesis on the radioactivity role in atmospheric electricity. Now, I have learned this morning that there was almost a reunion again in the 40s at Schrödinger's place. Unfortunately, it didn't materialize. Both of them, unfortunately, were forced to emigrate in 1938, and while Schrödinger returned to Austria after the war, Hess, except for a few visits, remained in the United States. This is the end of the short story. Thank you very much.